The stars above Earth no longer twinkled, they watched in silence. Cold. Observing. Waiting. In geostationary orbit, the verdict floated like a silent predator, its matte black hull absorbing starlight, reflecting nothing. The ship was not designed to inspire awe. It was designed for judgment. Admiral Kalen Vore stood at the edge of the command bridge's forward viewport. Below him, Earth spun slowly, cloaked in darkness except for the glowing scars of a planet preparing for war. Every city dimmed to low power. Civilian networks had gone dark an hour ago. Now, the world held its breath. Behind him, AI systems clicked in hushed precision. Officers moved like phantoms, issuing final confirmations and battle readiness checks. No one spoke unless necessary. No one questioned what was coming. Vore's eyes didn't blink as he rewatched the footage on his wrist console. For the 9th time. Eden 6. The orbital surveillance feed opened with a peaceful colony evening, children playing in hydro gardens, synthetic rivers glowing beneath twin moons. Then the sky fractured. Concord plasma beams lanced downward. Screams echoed in every direction. Buildings cracked like eggshells. A school, bright and full of life, vanished in white fire. The feed froze on a single image, a girl, maybe 6, running barefoot toward a shelter door as the world behind her collapsed. He tapped the screen off. Commander Rios approached quietly, tablet in hand. Signal jammers engaged across the belt. Concord channels are deaf for the next 3 minutes. Vore nodded once. Good. Prep the command studio. Bring me direct to broadcast. Rios hesitated. Last chance to address the Senate first. No, Vore said. This isn't a Senate matter anymore. This is for the stars. The chamber was silent. Cold lighting washed over smooth carbon walls. Vore stood before a single lens, centered in a room the size of a bunker. No backdrop. No flags. No medals on his uniform. Just a man with gray-streaked hair, weathered features, and eyes that hadn't known peace in years. A tone sounded. Live. Vore didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. To the Concord Council. To the Xerian sovereignty. To the species who watched as Eden 6 died in fire. This is not a threat. This is not a request. This is final clarity. He took one step closer into the lens. We joined your alliance in peace. We shared our knowledge, opened our trade, buried our soldiers next to yours on foreign battlefields. In return, you starved our colonies. You dismantled our culture. You told us assimilation was peace. And when one of ours refused to kneel, when Eden stood proud and unarmed, you erased them. His voice never wavered. You believed we would grieve quietly. You believed Earth had forgotten how to bleed and rise. You believed wrong. You chose this conflict. And now, you will understand its cost. He stepped back. The transmission ended in silence. Rios entered again, pale. We're receiving system reports. Strike teams confirm successful relay shutdowns. Concord will take hours to re-establish even partial comms. Then we have ours, Vore said. He turned to the star map now blooming across the central holotable. Red pings lit up the outer rim, Concord listening posts, early warning satellites, forward military stations, all either blind or dead. Operation Silent Dawn was underway. Give me fleet status, Vore ordered. 72% of Earth's fleets have engaged warp lanes. Strategic detachments en route to Ardent Ring, Outer Themis Belt, and Xerian border nodes. First engagements expected in under 20 hours. Civilian casualties? Projected 0, Rios replied, jaw clenched. All strikes are precision military targets. We won't become them. Vor allowed himself the barest nod. Not satisfaction, just confirmation. He tapped another icon on his console. A woman's voice came through, recorded, fragmented by age. Laughter, soft and tired. Come home soon, okay? Eden, 6 sunsets are ugly without you. He closed the file. Hours later, Vor stood alone in his quarters, bathed in the soft blue glow of Earth outside. The planet looked calm, almost asleep, unaware of the fury racing away from it at faster-than-light speeds. In the silence, he whispered to the image burned behind his eyelids, the little girl running through fire. You weren't forgotten. And somewhere, light years away, a Concord fleet commander stared in horror as every ship in his armada shut down simultaneously. Systems hijacked, engines offline, comms jammed by old Terran frequencies they thought obsolete. The human war had begun. Not with rage. Not with noise. But with silence. And memory. Chapter 2, The Council That Watched Us Burn. Word count \1000. The Concord High Council chamber was shaped like a star's core, massive, glowing, and too bright to be comfortable. Built to intimidate. Even the oxygen was artificially thin to suit the Xerians, forcing other species to breathe slower, speak less. Counselor Archon Valir Thazuan stood unmoved at the chamber's center, arms folded behind his back. His scaled face showed nothing but cool certainty. He'd stood in this room for nearly a century. Power, to him, wasn't something earned. It was inherited. Natural. He glanced around the circular forum. 63 seats. Only 58 were filled today. 5 systems had gone dark. Coincidence? No. He activated his personal uplink. Proceed, he commanded. In the chamber's center, a hologram unfolded, Earth's broadcast, transmission 01 playing in full. Vor's voice echoed through the dome. You chose this conflict. And now, you will understand its cost. When it ended, no one spoke. Not even the normally volatile Thalary or the mercantile Gelcor reps. Silence was rare here. Suspicion was rarer. It was Thazuan who finally broke it, with a sneer. Humans have always excelled at dramatics. A few chuckles flickered. Nervous. Performative. Counselor Ishan of the Varn Republic tapped her clawed fingers together. 5 Outer Rim colonies. Gone dark within the hour of this message. Their infrastructure is crude, Thazuan replied without concern. Likely coincidence or local rebellion. Not Earth. Counselor Karel, a species of crystalline intellect and memory, flickered with shifting blue hues. No confirmed signs of biological attacks. No orbital debris. Just silence. Another voice, smaller, more uncertain, cut in. The Eden 6 footage, it's spreading. Unfiltered. Unedited. Even my civilian networks can't suppress it. The speaker was Counselor Shrell, a junior member from the Hezen Concordate. Ishan's eyes narrowed. How? Thazuan answered coldly. Because we gave them the illusion of permission. He took a slow step forward, circling the central display. For decades, humans poisoned our cultures with their myths of liberty and individuality. We welcomed them as equals. They came in like missionaries, offering art, tech, culture. And the people listened. He tapped the floor with his staff. Eden 6 wasn't about military control. It was about a lesson. A boundary. Counselor Vars of the mechanical Ntari swiveled his neck. Then why not erase them all? Thazuan's voice lowered. Because extinction creates martyrs. We needed to trim the tree, not uproot it. Another moment of silence settled, uncomfortable now. Karel shifted again. And what of their response? Human fleets have moved. We've intercepted ghost signatures near Zekr and Solaris outposts. A bluff, Thazuan dismissed. They're reactive, emotional. Their bark outweighs their capability. Always has. Counselor Ishan tilted her head. You are certain? He turned sharply toward her. I was certain when I proposed the Eden strike. And I am certain now. Still, she did not look convinced. They've learned from us, Archon. They watched how we wage influence. War. They stopped broadcasting intentions. They stopped sending envoys. And now, when they move in silence. For the first time, Thazuan hesitated. Outside the council dome, a team of analysts huddled around a wide, spiraling data array. Concord technicians monitored pulse relays from the rim. Lights blinked slowly. Calm. Then, one by one, 5 lights went out. No alerts. No errors. Just nothing. Supervisor, one analyst asked. Tikal, Rail, and Eno's posts have all gone dark. No distress signals. No atmospheric anomalies. Just gone. The supervisor frowned, initiating backup scans. Run deep trace spectral sweeps. Already did. There's no debris. No wreckage. Pause. No signals. They're not destroyed. They're shut down. Back in the council chamber, an aide rushed to Thazuan's side, whispering in sharp Zirian tongue. Thazuan's expression hardened. Counselor Shrell's voice trembled. What is it? They've taken 3 more military outposts, Thazuan admitted, tight-jawed. Simultaneously. Without a trace. Karel's crystal surface dimmed. This is not anger. This is strategy. Thazuan clenched a fist. This is defiance. And defiance is corrected the same way Eden 6 was. Ishan stood. You mean another purge? He faced her without blinking. A faster one. But this time, no one echoed support. Several counselors turned away. Some reached for their uplinks. Others sat frozen, processing the shift. Earth was not shouting in rage. It was moving with purpose. Across the capital world, protesters had begun gathering. Holograms of Eden's destruction filled the public square, children, mothers, citizens who had no weapons, no threats. And above them, on every stolen Concord broadcast tower, Vor's message looped once more. You chose this conflict. That night, Thazuan stood alone in his office, the city stretching far below. He watched as a distant news feed showed a group of alien children lighting candles under a projected image of a human girl, barefoot, running toward a shelter. And for the first time in decades, the Archon felt a new sensation stir beneath his certainty. Doubt. The colony of Zekr floated quietly on the edge of Zirian-controlled space, suspended above a dead moon. It wasn't glamorous, just a hardened military outpost disguised as a resource depot. Supply lanes fed through it like veins through bone, keeping 3 Concord sectors fueled and armed. It had stood untouched for 60 years. No alarms ever triggered. No attacks had reached its perimeter. Until now. Captain Relek Vor of the Zirian Strategic Guard stood on the outpost's primary observation deck, bored and irritated. His spined tail flicked lazily behind him as he stared at the blank black beyond the viewport. "Status," he grunted. A junior tech straightened. "Supply convoys delayed 3 hours. Civilian unrest on Velatrix causing orbital congestion." Relek hissed. "Useless." He turned away, padding toward the corridor, footsteps echoing across cold metal. He didn't like the feel of today. Something in the station's rhythm was off. Too quiet. He entered Command Nexus 2 and looked at the tactical grid. All green. No alerts. No irregularities. Just like always. He narrowed his eyes. That was the problem. 3 decks below, at precisely 1400 hours station time, light vanished. It didn't flicker. It didn't dim. It simply stopped. In command, the screens cut to black. System failure? Relek snapped. "No, sir," the technician whispered. "No diagnostics. No warning logs. Nothing. It's like the station's refusing to acknowledge anything's wrong." One by one, internal subroutines froze. Communications. Shields. Propulsion. Life support stayed on, but everything else fell into absolute stillness. Then came the sound. Not an alarm. Not a voice. Just a hum. Faint. Oscillating in pitch. Not Zirian. Not Concord Standard. Something older. Above the station, human ships emerged from the dark. Not through warp gates. Not in formation. They seemed to bleed out of space, their hulls blacker than the void, shapes undefined, adaptive stealth vessels with no visible weapons, no energy signature, no comms. Just silence. Each of them deployed a cluster of small spheres. They drifted slowly at first, then accelerated, like pebbles dropped into a well. Within seconds, they latched onto the Zeker station's exterior. Then, nothing. No explosions. No beams. Inside, everything just stopped. Relek's claws dug into the console. Override protocol. Manual restart. Initiate system cleanse. The console didn't respond. Instead, the main screen flashed once. Then again. Then displayed a single symbol. 6. He froze. "What is that?" the tech asked quietly. Relek didn't answer. He just stared. His mind jumped to the forbidden briefings, classified vids never meant for Zirian eyes. "Evacuate," he ordered, voice flat. "Sir." "Get the crew to the dropships." "No." The tech didn't move. "Sir, the hangar." He didn't have to finish. The feed shifted. Security cam, hangar 4. Already sealed. Already venting atmosphere. No Terran soldiers had landed. No fighting had occurred. Zeker's personnel weren't being defeated. They were being removed. From Earth's High Command orbital relay, Admiral Vor watched the feed in silence. Behind him, Commander Rios handed him the final status report. Zeker neutralized. 73 Concord officers decommissioned. No civilian presence. "Good," Vor said. He folded his arms as the replay looped on screen, Concord command collapsing in less than 6 minutes. No shots fired. No casualties. Just precision. Rios leaned closer. "We've intercepted transmissions. Zirian Command believes it's a rogue AI. They still don't understand," Vor muttered. We didn't just build better weapons. We studied them. He looked at the AI core pulsing beside him. It was Earth-designed, but fed on Concord code, perfectly fluent in every protocol they'd ever used. The enemy's silence was now their greatest vulnerability. Back on Zeker, only 6 lifeforms remained. They stood in the atrium, sealed inside a powerless fortress. One of them, Lieutenant Vresh, stared at a flickering emergency panel. "They're not coming to kill us, are they?" "No," Rilek said softly. "Then what is this?" He hesitated. "A demonstration." Light returned at 1411. Every console blinked awake. Doors unlocked. Systems rebooted. But something was missing. All the command logs, internal data stores, and long-range comm histories had been purged. Every file, every record, gone. In their place, one message appeared across every screen. "You silenced our children. Now feel our silence closing in." Earth broadcast 01*. Vresh trembled. "They didn't want blood." "No," Rilek whispered. "They wanted us to understand." The footage hit the Concord civilian networks within hours. Thousands of terminals across dozens of systems lit up, unfiltered. They didn't see war. They saw a perfectly executed shutdown, merciless, bloodless, and impossible to counter. And then they saw Eden 6. Again. Not the military spin. Not the censored cuts. Raw. Children huddled in smoke. Civilians clawing through rubble. A girl running barefoot toward a bunker as the sky turned to plasma. Every Concord citizen watched. And for the first time since Earth had entered the galactic stage, they didn't see animals. They saw mirrors. And they felt shame. Ask ChatGPT. The Xerian city of Varkoth Prime once towered as a jewel of Concord civilization. Arched spires laced with atmospheric filters, crystalline walkways suspended above rivers of light, trade halls filled with species from 50 worlds. It was untouched by war for centuries, buffered by bureaucracy and arrogance. That illusion ended in less than a single Terran hour. It began with silence, just as it had on Zeker. Power grids dimmed across multiple districts. Not failure. Not sabotage. Surrender. Everything connected to the Concord's central data flow simply stopped obeying. Shuttles hung in the air, drifting slowly downward on auxiliary grav stabilizers. Traffic halted mid-glide. Civilian terminals blinked once, then rebooted into a singular black screen. A Terran message awaited them. "We do not target the innocent. But your monuments are not innocent." And then the sky opened. No fighters. No invasion craft. No dramatic descent. Instead, Earth's response came shaped like memory. Varkoltha's orbital satellite ring, once a symbol of diplomatic reach, shattered into drifting debris. A coordinated series of micropayloads, launched from Terran stealth ships hiding in the planet's shadow, each targeted one satellite with surgical precision. Every camera. Every relay. Every long-range comm node, gone in minutes. The Concord's eyes were closed. And through that blindness, Earth sent a message far louder than war. Down on the surface, Minister Talar Enzrel of Xerian External Affairs stood before an emergency broadcast podium. His frilled brows twitched with anger. "We must retaliate. This cannot stand." Advisors shifted behind him, silent and uncertain. One leaned in. "Sir, the outer rings are in chaos. More systems are going dark." "And the High Council?" Talar asked. Split, she whispered. Some want peace. Others say Earth must be erased. Taller scoffed. Fools. They think humanity's still begging for a seat. They don't understand, they're standing on humanity's trial. He adjusted his collar, stepped up to the podium, and addressed billions across the network. The Terran Alliance has violated interstellar law. This is not justice, it is terrorism. Their illusions of morality collapse under scrutiny. He straightened. We will remind them who built the stars they crawl through. In Earth's underground command chamber in New Santiago, the Terran fleet watched the speech without sound. Admiral Kalen Vore tapped his finger against the polished table once. Time-stamped and logged. Repeated twice on their network in 4 languages. And public reaction, asked Rios beside him. Mixed. The outer Concord sectors are quiet. Core worlds are scrambling. We've intercepted 500 different civilian broadcasts in the last hour. Vore's eyes didn't move from the screen. And? They're scared. Not of what we've done. Of what we haven't. Vore nodded. As intended. While the council postured, Terran operatives moved quietly. Dozens of covert AI constructs, trained on Concord behavioral patterns, slipped through ancient bureaucratic systems like shadows in a cave. Entire logistics routes rerouted. Fleet replenishment requests denied by systems that couldn't remember who approved them. No shooting. No hacking. Just absence. Xerian patrols returned to find outposts gone dark, supplies never arrived, messages unanswered, reinforcements late or missing entirely. An empire was being dismantled, not by warheads, but by graceful omission. 3 days later, Earth issued their second message. This time, it was not a whisper. It was broadcast openly, on Concord's own emergency network. Admiral Vore stood before the camera, flanked by delegates from Earth's allied colonies, Luna, Titan, Eden's survivors. His uniform bore no medals. Just one symbol over his heart, the insignia of Eden 6, a fractured planet with a child's handprint etched into stone. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't threaten. He invited. You do not remember the names of those you destroyed, he said. But we do. You dismissed us as a young species. Primitive. Violent. Disposable. We tried peace. You taught us silence. We tried restraint. You saw weakness. So now, we teach you what silence feels like when it wraps around your throats. He let the words breathe. We are not here for conquest. We do not want your stars, your mines, or your thrones. We want what you thought we would never ask for. Remembrance. The message rippled across the galaxy like thunder through glass. On neutral worlds, riots broke out as Concord loyalists clashed with human sympathizers. Some colonies took down their own Concord flags, unwilling to be caught in the crossfire of a war they now knew was earned. And still, Earth didn't fire a shot. Back in Varkulth Prime, Minister Taller stood alone in the ruins of his outer compound. Its skybridge had collapsed after an unscheduled construction failure. The tower hadn't been bombed. It had been corrupted, its sensors blind, its protocols rewritten, its systems persuaded to forget how to be strong. Earth had sent no soldiers. But Earth had been there. A blinking light at the edge of the rubble caught Taller's eye. A small data slate. No markings. He bent, picked it up, and tapped the screen. A video loaded. It was from Eden 6. Children playing in the dust. Laughing. One waved at the camera. Then the sound of incoming fire. The girl screamed. The screen went black. Then white text appeared. You called her a statistic. We called her daughter. Taller dropped the slate. His claws trembled. For the first time in his diplomatic career, he had nothing to say. In orbit, Vor watched the latest field reports and whispered to Rios, "We're not fighting them anymore." Rios blinked. Then what are we doing? We're making them fight themselves. And across the galaxy, piece by piece, the Concord began to unravel. The Galactic Concord convened for the final time. What remained of its once mighty council sat beneath the fractured dome of the core tribunal station, orbiting the dying gas giant Kael'ros 3. The chamber lights flickered, not from damage, but from decay. The automated systems, built by humans decades earlier as a gesture of good faith, had quietly stopped functioning 2 days ago. Power reroutes failed. Diagnostics stalled. No sabotage. Just silence. Earth hadn't fired another shot. They didn't need to. The silence was now louder than any war cry. Admiral Kalen Vor stood alone on the bridge of the TNS Revenant, his eyes locked on a star map rendered in shifting red threads. Worlds that had once glowed proudly beneath the Concord's flag were now grayed out. Not because they had fallen, but because they had chosen to step away. Neutrality wasn't a shield anymore. It was a decision. And Earth had given them that choice. Status of Sector Grid 9B? Vor asked without turning. Commander Rios responded crisply, "Zirian High Command has fractured. 2 out of 5 governors have denounced Concord authority. Civilian fleets are requesting safe passage, no weapons, just evac." Vor's voice was even. "Granted. Clear the corridors. Mark them with shielded drones. No one touches those transports." Rios blinked. "Even after what they did? They aren't soldiers. They're just leaving the fire they helped build." He paused. "They get to live. That's the difference." Back in the core tribunal station, the final vote was about to be cast. Minister Talar Enzrel, now stripped of his robes and speaking not as Zirian royalty but as a surviving official, stood before the fractured representatives. "This is not surrender," he rasped. "It is an admission. We have failed. We misunderstood a species, and called that misunderstanding peace." He looked around the hollow chamber. "We offered Earth assimilation, submission, supervision, but never respect. And they responded in the only language we refused to believe they had mastered: restraint." A silence followed. Then the vote was cast. The motion passed: disband the Concord. No formal ceremony. No salutes. No anthem. Just one final act, a single encoded message sent to Earth, the last the Concord would ever send. Inside Earth Command, the message blinked on the display. Rios read it aloud. "We were wrong. The Concord dissolves. The stars are yours to speak to, if you still wish to speak." No one moved. Not even Vor. He leaned forward, entered a single line into the system, and hit transmit. "We never wanted your stars. We wanted you to see ours." He closed the console. "Rios. Bring us home." 6 months later. The galaxy had changed. Not because Earth had conquered it, but because Earth had refused to. Instead, humanity had built something new, a memorial network, transmitting free, open data from every colony lost to Concord actions. Stories. Names. Lives. At the center of it all floated a station, Eden's Echo. It wasn't a military base. It had no guns, no command staff. Just a single rotating archive and a monument with one phrase etched in every known language. They silenced a child. So humanity answered. On the surface of the reclaimed Eden 6, now a garden world in healing, Admiral Kalen Vor walked the same valley where once scorched craters had bloomed. Children played in the open under clean skies. No soldiers. No guard towers. Just life. Rios joined him, older now, a silver streak in her hair. They call this valley First Light now, she said. Fitting, Vor replied. He watched a boy race past with a wooden toy starfighter in his hands, mimicking the roar of engines. They fear us still, you know, Rios added quietly. Even now. Vor gave a tired smile. They should. But not because of what we did. Because of what we didn't. Back in deep space, at the far edge of the former Concorde's reach, a Xerian refugee freighter approached a human outpost, damaged and drifting. They sent a simple plea, no weapons, no cargo, only families. The human station responded immediately. Docking clearance granted. Food and water were waiting. And on the main hull's wall, beneath Terran colors, hung a plaque with 10 simple words. You chose this conflict. We chose to end it.